What do you want the most in life? Is it money, fame, contentment, personality, peace of mind, happiness? Let's start by talking about thoughts. Now, thoughts, if you think about it, are things, powerful things. But to translate them to riches, they have to be first mixed with a definiteness of purpose, persistence, and a burning desire. Let me tell you about a story that happened about 100 years ago. Edwin Barnes had a burning desire to work with the great inventor Thomas Edison. You know, the Edison that invented the electric bulb. One of the chief characteristics of Barnes' desire was that it was definite. He wanted to work with Edison, not for him. When this desire first flashed into his mind, he was in no position to act upon it. He did not know Edison, and he did not have the money to pay for the train ticket to New Jersey. So, what was Barnes to do? These difficulties would have been sufficient to discourage most people. However, Barnes wasn't most people. He was so determined to find a way to carry out his desire that he decided to travel by blind baggage, as in not paying instead of being defeated. So he said, I don't have any money. This is worth it. I'm going to take everything I can and go for it. He presented himself at Edison's lab and announced that he had come to go into business with him. When asked about that first meeting years later, Edison said, "He stood there before me, looking like an ordinary tramp. But there was something in the expression of his face which conveyed that he was determined to get what he had come after. I had learned from years of experience with men that when a man desires a thing so deeply that he is willing to stake his entire future on a single turn of the wheel in order to get it, he is sure to win. I gave him the opportunity he asked for because I saw he had made up his mind to stand by until he succeeded. Subsequent events proved that no mistake was made." Barnes did not get his partnership with Edison on his first interview. He did get a chance to work in the Edison offices, which gave him the opportunity to display his merchandise where his intended partner, Edison, could see it. Months went by and Barnes's goal had not materialized. But something important was happening in Barnes's mind. He was constantly intensifying his desire to become the business associate of Edison. Psychologists have said that when one is truly ready for a thing, it puts in its appearance. Barnes was ready for a business association with Edison, and moreover, he was determined to remain ready until he got that which he was seeking. He did not say to himself, well, what's the use? I guess I'll give up and go for a salesman's job. But he did say, I came here to go into business with Edison, and I'll accomplish this even if it takes the remainder of my life. Opportunity has a devious habit of slipping in through the back door, and often it comes disguised in the form of misfortune or temporary defeat. Perhaps this is why so many fail to recognize opportunity. And sometime later, Edison had just perfected a new office device known at the time as the Edison dictating machine. Yet his salesman didn't believe it could easily be sold. Barnes knew he could sell the Edison dictating machine. He suggested this to Edison and promptly got his chance. Spoiler alert, he did sell the machine. In fact, he sold it so successfully that Edison gave him a contract to distribute and market it all over the nation. Out of that grew the slogan, "Made by Edison and installed by Barnes." The business alliance continued in operation for more than 30 years. Out of it, Barnes has made himself quite rich, but he has done something infinitely greater. He has proved that one can really think and grow rich. Barnes literally thought himself into a partnership with Edison. He had nothing to start with except the capacity to know what he wanted and the determination to stand by that desire until he realized it. With these intangible forces, he made himself the #1 man with one of the greatest inventors who ever lived. He did it. Now, get your tissues, because we're going to look at a different situation. One of the most common causes of failure is the habit of quitting when one is overtaken by temporary defeat. An uncle of R.U. Darby was caught by the gold fever in the gold rush days, so he went west to dig and grow rich. And after weeks of labor, he was rewarded by the discovery of the shining ore. He needed machinery to bring the ore to the surface. He told his relatives and a few neighbors of the strike. They got together money for the needed machinery. The returns proved that they had one of the richest mines in Colorado. Down went the drills, up went the hopes of Uncle and Darby. But then something happened. The vein of gold ore disappeared. They drilled on, desperately trying to pick up the vein again, all without success. Finally, they decided to quit. They sold the machinery to a Junkman for a few $100s and took the train back home. The Junkman called in a mining engineer to look at the mine and do a little calculating. The engineer advised that the project had failed because the owners were not familiar with fault lines. His calculations showed that the vein of gold would be found just 3 feet from where the Darbys had stopped drilling. The Junkman took millions of dollars in ore from the mine because he knew enough to seek expert counsel before giving up. More than 500 of the most successful men surveyed for creating these episodes said that their greatest success came just one step beyond the point at which defeat had overtaken them. But what if someone who has neither the time nor the inclination to study failure in search of the knowledge that may lead to success? Where and how is he to learn the art of converting defeat into stepping stones of opportunity? That's what we are here to answer. And that answer called for a description of 13 principles that will guide you in creating and implementing great ideas. You have to know that when riches begin to come, they come so quickly in such great abundance that one wonders where they had been hiding during all those lean years. One of the main weaknesses with mankind is the familiarity with the word impossible. People know all the rules which will not work and all the things which cannot be done. Focus is on the negative. However, success comes to those who become success conscious, while failure comes to those who indifferently allow themselves to become failure conscious. Our objective here is to help all who seek success to learn the art of changing their minds from failure consciousness to success consciousness. The principles we will be discussing in the next episodes were gathered from the life experiences of more than 500 men who actually accumulated riches in huge amounts. Men who began in poverty with but little education and without influence. The principles worked for these men. You can put them to work for your own enduring benefit. And before you watch the next episode, I want you to know that it conveys information that might easily change your entire financial destiny. So I would watch it.